folks, welcome into that betting show for February 21st, 2019. Your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs right here at sportsbookreview.com. He's Teddy Severansky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. We'll go right down to Durham, North Carolina last night. All the excitement. Barack Obama's in the house. Ken Griffey Jr. is in the house, Teddy. 30 seconds into the game, Shoegate breaks out. Zion Williamson goes down, sprained knee. Sorry if you had that ticket on Duke minus 10. You were already out, it seems like, right from the beginning. But those are the breaks, Teddy, right?
Sure, there are no locks. There's never a lock. There's never a lock when you're up by 90 with 3 seconds left. And last night, of course, a scenario in which everything that you thought you were betting on, if you bet Duke, was taken away 30 seconds into the game with Williamson's injury and the crowd being deflated and the team being deflated. And, it was just a nightmare for Duke backers. There's no way around it. That's why you don't bet all your money on one game. That's why you always say, hey, I need to make wagers that I can afford to lose if things go wrong. That was absolutely the case for Duke last night. The incredible thing, North Carolina, what were they? 9.5, 10-point dogs in that game. They won by 16 despite 2 for 20 from three-point range. They couldn't hit a broadside of a barn with their three-point shooting last night and still won by margin, which speaks volumes about how out of it Duke was once Williamson went down.
Yeah, Teddy, those are the toughest breaks to have as well. It's almost like your quarterback getting hurt in the middle of a game. If you know he's going to be out and you have a couple days to get ready for it, you can scheme and, get right and try to use different angles out there. But I think me and you could have went down to the Thomas and Mack Center last night and hit better than 2 for 23. And also, if you're looking at Duke, who turned into a three-point shooting machine, not making a ton of them, 8 for 39 as well. Easy winner last night for North Carolina. When we take a look at what's next on deck for the Duke Blue Devils, they're going to go, obviously, on the road to play Syracuse in a revenge situation without Zion Williamson. We should take a look at that one as well. But also, betonline.ag. Since we are a gambling show, we like to bring the value up there. A little bit of a fun prop right here, Teddy. Zion Williamson to sign with which shoe company in the NBA? Adidas, Nike, Puma, New Balance, Under Armour, Big Baller, all listed here. Can we get some value if we still hang in there, Teddy, with Nike?
Maybe. Of course, I don't know if I want Nike stock today. Yeah. And I don't. This is, again, you're trying to get inside the head of an 18, 19-year-old kid and say, okay, is he going to say, no freaking way am I ever wearing a Nike again? Or is he going to say, yeah, this is my brand? I don't know. And for me, those are scenarios in which I don't tend to get involved with a wager, but I love the fact that you see odds like this. It's fun to talk about. It's interesting to talk about. And if you do have an opinion, you can get a wager down.
Always fun to look at there. Also, a little bit later in the show in the Off the Mic section, Teddy, we'll talk a little Zion Williamson. Should he or shouldn't he shut it down at the end of the season here? But gamblers alike, look, the end of the game ticket wasn't affected last night between two squads, Teddy, that were both Bulldogs. That will be Mississippi State and also Georgia. A teddy bear bulldog thrown onto the court to try to disrupt the free throw shooter. A tech comes in. Now, look, would he have maybe made the second one? We won't know for sure without the technical foul, but he does make the second one, misses the third free throw to force, some long Hail Mary pass with a half second to go was the right move there. But always interesting to see that come into play, or a quick technical foul or something can happen from something outside of the actual two teams that are playing and the referees. And Teddy, here's my question to you as gamblers out here. They're both Bulldogs. A Bulldog was thrown on the floor. Could this have been an inside job from Mississippi State here?
It could have been, but the refs didn't see it that way. And when it's your court, you're going to get the blame, even if an opposing fan throws a Bulldog on the floor. That's just the way that it is. Now, from a point spread perspective, this is a nightmare for Mississippi State backers because you're in a scenario, he's already missed the first free throw. The score's tied at 67. There's 0.5 seconds left. He gets whistled. There's a foul, 2 free throws with 0.5 seconds left, and he misses the first. You want to talk about pressure? There's a lot of pressure. What happens next? Boom. Somebody chucks in the Bulldog. Oh, here's an extra free throw. Here's the technical free throw. And that one he sinks. But that may well have cost the home team the game, given the scenario. That's not a good fan situation. And from a point spread perspective, you have Mississippi State minus the points. You want that game to go to OT. Yep. It's the only way you can cover is an OT. That's your worst case scenario. So great for fans of Mississippi State, how that went down. Lousy for bettors.
Even on the forget about the side, also the total as well, Teddy, was well under at that point, but we've seen it go 1 overtime, 2 overtime, double bonuses in that situation. Never would have known as well. So interesting little thing when I saw that pop up last night, and we'll see if any of those shenanigans happen down the stretch, especially in the SEC. Take a look at the NBA, Teddy. It's been a long time since we talked a little bit of NBA action. Gets back underway tonight in a segment just a little bit later in the show. Watch What You Bet. We'll preview a pretty big game in the Eastern Conference, but some interesting tidbits, Teddy, came up over the weekend here outside of the All-Star game. Joel Embiid now soreness in his knee. I mean, this guy used to be a walking injury. Now is that creeping up second half of the season? Sixers did a pretty good job of load management in the first half, but was he injured before going the All-Star game or back? Boogie Cousins now completely off the Richter scale, as I like to say. He's able to get as many minutes maybe as possible heading down the stretch. And also coming into tonight's game, Gordon Hayward twisted an ankle in an off-season workout, but just nice to have. The NBA is back, the second half surge. Here we go.
Sure, and the beauty of the NBA at this time of the year, okay, for about a week after the All-Star break, maybe 10 days, the mainstream media pays a lot of attention to the NBA because the NBA is back off the break. And then March rolls around, and March basically sucks most of the oxygen out of the room. So what you'll see in March, you'll see teams getting better and worse in the NBA, and the markets tend to take a little bit longer to adjust. You can ride some really good streaks at this time of the year. You talked about some of the key guys who are out, Embiid, Hayward, and the like. Let's talk about some guys who are in. There were concerns about Damian Lillard playing for Portland night. He's good to go. At latest report, Kyrie Irving upgraded to probable for the Celtics tonight. He's likely to go. So while there's lots of guys banged up off the break, there are also a good handful of guys who are coming back from injury. This is one time you really want to check those injury reports day of the game. Clint Capella coming back for Houston. That's an impact return after missing 15 games. All over the betting board, you're going to see guys or teams making adjustments to their rotation minutes because they're getting players in and out. This is not a time and not a night where I'm expecting, tonight and tomorrow both, all the best teams to play their best. That just doesn't happen coming out of the break.
Snowed in Las Vegas yesterday. Snowed on the East Coast here in New Jersey yesterday. What's not to like about spring training on the horizon? And the first spring training game is scheduled for today. Hallelujah. Yesterday, Teddy brought up the both ends of the spectrum. First, we had the Baltimore Orioles. Disastrous. Then we had the Boston Red Sox. Impressive. And then we stay with another impressive team here, Teddy, in the AL East. That's the New York Yankees. 162 last year in 2019. Made some moves this year. Also, if we take a look, the co-favorites at a certain amount of sports books, Teddy, at plus 650 to win the World Series, along with fellow division mate Boston Red Sox. Also, a win total, Teddy, at 96 for those Yankees. How about it?
Yeah, I mean, look. There's a problem with betting on the Yankees. And let me make this very clear. Yankees won 100 games last year. Great season. They lost money for their backers. They went 53-28 at home. They lost money for their backers. They went 47-34 on the road. They lost money for their backers. You bet them on the run line every game. You lost money. You bet them in the playoffs every game. You lost money. It's really hard to make money betting on the teams that are properly priced as elite teams in the betting marketplace. Yankees, 100 wins? Yeah, they're probably certainly the best. With a total of 96, the markets are saying this is a team that's very live to win 100 games this year. But will that result in any profit for their backers? I'm not so sure of that. The Yankees have everything we want for a great team. The starting pitching's there. The bullpen is as elite as it gets. And if there's one way to make money in MLB that I figured out. You bet against bad bullpens. You bet at bad bullpen teams over the total. And that's my MO for betting baseball. Yankees have maybe the best bullpen in MLB. They're not a team I'm in any rush to step against. They're loaded with stars. They pick up a couple former Rockies who are both all-stars, to add up, make that lineup even stronger. But all that being said, I don't see any realistic scenario that the Yankees come out of this season as big money makers for their backers. They're just priced too high. Even if they win 100 games, they lost in every role last year. And 100-game win season this year, 100-win season this year, every Yankees fan would be happy. They cash their over tickets, and they still wouldn't make any money for their backers. That's where this team is priced. Makes it very difficult for me to get involved betting on or against the Yankees. I can tell you I probably played 5 Yankees games last year. Might not even play that many this year. Hard team to get involved with.
Yep, always a Yankees tax, it seems like, Teddy, each and every year. But also keep in mind, I mean, we're talking about a team that won 100 games last year. Let's keep in mind also, they lost 62 games as well. So pick your spots in that movement. It's astounding to see a team, Teddy, that went 162 and actually lost money for their backers. But that's Major League Baseball. We'll continue down that foxhole as we get ready for opening day, which is scheduled for March the 20th. And then the official United States, as we like to say, opening day, a week later after that. Segment 2, overnight line movers. Money never sleeps there. Always check out SBRodds.com for all the latest line movements in the business here. If we take a look at the Rockets, seeing a slight bump early morning action versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Line opens up at 2. Looks like it's sitting around 3, 2.5 in some of the books offshore as well. 232 as a total. Rockets and Lakers back at it. Now, Teddy, before you get into this game, we're not going to cap this game, but take a quick preview. Coming out of the All-Star break, outside of like LeBron James for the Lakers, a lot of these guys flew off some steam. Now they get back on court. Positive or negative for you here heading into the stretch on these first couple games?
I mean, it's neither a positive or a negative. It's a team-by-team scenario. If a team suffered a particularly bad loss before the All-Star break, they tend to come out of the break with focus. If a team had 8 players play, do something on All-Star game weekend, sometimes that focus isn't there in that first game back. So there's no tried and true rule. All right, everyone wants the simple solution. Oh, what's the rule for this? There's no rule. The rule is look at it at a team-by-team scenario. Do your homework, and you can find some betting opportunities today and tomorrow. Certainly the markets saw some opportunity with the Houston Rockets tonight in L.A., despite the fact that LeBron, what was his quote was that his intensity level has been, quote, activated, which I love. But, of course, with Clint Capella and Austin Rivers, both upgraded to probable for Houston, 2 impact players for that team, the money has come on the Rockets. Certainly the early money has come overnight on Houston, and we're seeing a continuing of that money flow here early on Thursday morning.
How about this one, Teddy? UConn, another total plummeting down. If we take a look at some offshore books there, Chris opened up a 146.5, now dropping to 141.5, a 5-point drop on UConn before the break. Teddy, we even previewed a couple of those UConn games with the same type of MO here, being lined high, going low. Interesting game here. Whenever you see a 5-point line movement, you got to dig into there and see what the reasoning is.
Sure. And of course, when it comes to totals in college basketball, it takes a fraction of the money to move a 5-point line move across the board than it would in the NBA. The limits are lower. It's hard to get as much down. The books react very quickly to these wise guy moves. And that's why you see some really big swings in the college hoops totals betting marketplace. UConn's on a big run to the under. You talked about it. We talked about it last week. 5-1 to the under after a whole string of overs. But the Huskies 5 unders in their last 6 ball games. All that being said, SMU's 4-1 to the over. They've lost 5 straight. That came after a long string of unders. So the market's expecting UConn's pace to be the preferred one tonight. That, of course, a slower pace than what SMU wants to play.
You want to watch a little bit of TV, get down on some wagers, here's the section for you. Watch what you bet here at sportsbookreview.com. Michigan and Minnesota, Teddy, squeaker the last time these two teams played on the court. Now we're coming back, getting round to a little revenge type situation. If we take a look at the over-under in this basketball game, Teddy, sitting at 134 right now, up from, Chris offshore, 131.5. Pinnacle opened up about 133. So staying on those similar levels, staying there. -5 for the game itself, going to be an ESPN game live from Williams Arena in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Michigan 14-12 in all their line games. Minnesota 13-13, but coming in 2-1 against the spread as home dogs. Big Ten battle tonight. Minnesota needs it.
Yeah, Minnesota needs it, and that always worries me at this time of the year. The one thing you don't want to be doing in college basketball is looking at the must-win teams and thinking they're actually going to win. Michigan's in. Minnesota's on the bubble. Minnesota needs a win like this, and maybe they get a win like this. But the markets are pricing that. And, of course, that first meeting, you say it was tight. Yeah, Michigan won. It was a buzzer-beater jumper. Oh, no, it was an offensive rebound. Off. It was a jumper off an offensive rebound to win the game at the buzzer, 59-57. But Michigan, they were up by double digits throughout the second half. They were up by 10 with less than 5 to play and kind of let that one escape, get away from them a little bit before sealing it at the end. And, of course, the Wolverines didn't hit a shot in that game, under 34% from the field, just 3 of 22 from 3-point range, and they still won the game, and they didn't blow it, and they hit the shot that they had to. So here's Minnesota coming off a big win over Indiana, which, they shot really well, 55% from 3-point range. Richard Pitino, head coach, after the game, we had some good ones at home offensively. We have not had some good ones on the road. We've just got to understand where we're getting good shots. Stick with the execution. The same offense that's producing 90-something 80 versus Iowa, 80-something versus Illinois. It's just being fundamentally sound, not turning the ball over, is really, really important. All that being said, Michigan is the elite team here. Minnesota is not. The Gophers are being priced in must-win territory. I don't trust them. Wolverines of the class. It's Michigan or pass for this better.
Yep, getting closer and closer to Selection Sunday. March Madness Conference Tournament should be a lot of fun here at sportsbookreview.com over the next 30 days here. But let's head over to the NBA, getting back in the association. Top 4 teams squaring up in the Eastern Conference with the Celtics and the Bucks. Current line sitting at -5.5, a total of 227. Money line split +195, -225. Going to take place in Milwaukee. The one thing that you can be impressed with if you've been backing Milwaukee this season, Teddy, 34, 21-2 on the season, 16-11 as home favorites, 17-11 against the spread at home overall, and 24, 12-2 versus the Eastern Conference. If you bet the Milwaukee Bucks in the first half, Teddy, lining your pockets here.
Yeah, Milwaukee was as good as any team in the NBA from a point spread perspective through the first half of the campaign, and I haven't seen any signs that this Bucks team is going in a different direction post-break. Obviously, we haven't seen a game post-break, but you read the quotes from Giannis coming out of the game, watching great players play, like all of them, all the players from both teams, just seeing the mentality, the demeanor, everything. It's the way they carry themselves. I feel that for a young man that wants to become great, it's really important. And Giannis and the Bucks, the consistency level has been there the way it hasn't been with most teams in the NBA. That I give credit to their superstar and their head coach. And, of course, it looks like Mirotic's going to play tonight. Their big trade deadline acquisition. He's instant offense off the bench. He will make the Bucks better from day one. And it's a Bucks team that's going to look at this Celtics squad and say, we need to beat these guys, considering Boston's deep playoff runs, Boston's experience. That's Milwaukee wants to be. After, obviously, the Celtics have been in the Eastern Conference Finals each of the last 2 years. Celtics should be healthier tonight. Kyrie Irving, again, expected to play. Terry Rozier likely to play as well. And Greek Freak does have some issues with his right knee. That is a concern tonight. But I'm telling you flat out, Milwaukee's a one-way team for me. If I'm involved in a Bucks game, I'm likely to be betting on Milwaukee, not against them.
Yep, good to have the NBA back. We'll see what happens tonight in that Eastern Conference. Still off the mic section, Teddy, got a couple minutes to spend here on this one. The old adage comes up with the blown tire, the blown shoegate last night down in Duke. The one question I had before that also is, did they get their hands on that shoe and able to put that bad boy up on eBay and make some money? That's one of the questions I have. But here's the real deal question, Teddy. To play or not to play? The old adage, if you have a business advisor or if the mother and father step in and say, you just got a scare last night, you're going to be the number 1 player in the draft, let's sit out the rest of the season, even though it's only a mild knee sprain, he might be back in a week, 2 weeks, can make a run, really enhance his brand even more going through March Madness, possibly winning a national championship with Duke. But then the smart business side of it, Teddy, says, hey, shut it down. You're going to be paid a lot of money, and you avoided the catastrophic injury as you move forward. But some guys want to play with their teammates, play with their brothers on the court. Does business take over, Teddy? Smart or not smart for Zion to shut it down and just head into the NBA draft?
That's an interesting question. I don't have a great answer, smart or not smart.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's his call. And from a business standpoint, it's a no-brainer. All right? You don't play another game. If you have the chance to be the number 1 overall pick, you shut it down and you're done. And it's not really a debate. It's not Zion Williamson's job to get ratings for CBS or to sell tickets for Duke. It's his job to prepare himself for his career. That's why he went to Duke University. All that being said, I like the guy that plays. I like the guy that wants to be with his teammates. I like the guy that doesn't shut it down. From a fan standpoint, that's what you prefer. So business versus life, the people that are great businessmen aren't necessarily great at life. Everyone thinks they're jerks. Everyone thinks they're, I made a great business deal. Great. You fucked everybody over, and that's the mentality that a lot of these guys have. So I can understand the case either way. Personally, I'm not going to hold it against Zion if he doesn't play, but I'll probably think more of him if he does.
I'll tell you right now, good business move, bad business move. Tomorrow, good business move to watch that betting show once again to set you up for Friday and also the weekend and week out. See if we can cash some of those tickets, provide that information that you need. Your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs in under 20 minutes or less. Thanks for tuning in to the show today. He's Teddy Savransky at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. Thanks for tuning into that betting show for February 21st, 2019 on sportsbookreview.com.